take a look at sports.
Thanks, Evan. Coming up on Newswatch 16 Sports, we're talking Diamonds, baseball, softball on both sides of the hill, and collegiate basketball has crowned a champion. Stick with us.
Now, Newswatch 16 Sports.
And I'm Kira Dowd with Newswatch 16 Sports. Members of the wrestling team were named Scholar All-Americans by the National Wrestling Coaches Association. Senior Seth Ecker and grad students Nick Sanko and Jeremy Steerley all received the honor. The Bomber squad finished the season ranked 10th out of 106 Division III programs. The 7-8 softball squad was looking to bounce back today after dropping a doubleheader to Rochester on Saturday. The Bombers had a doubleheader this afternoon against Cortland, and to the first game we go here with highlights live from South Hill. Some furry friends taking in the game this afternoon in the top of the sixth. 2 outs, Cortland's down by 1, and Lucia Mayola finds a hole in the left. And Kayla Lynch will come back to tie it at 4 later in the inning. Lorraine Stoddard hits a single through the right side, and Tara Danino beats the play to home. And Cortland takes a 5-4 lead. Now bottom of the 7th, Ithaca's down by 1. And Monica Capolongo rips a single down the third baseline, and Francesca Busa will score to tie the game. And we are headed into extra innings. Now the top of the 8th, tied at 5, 2 on, 2 outs. Stoddard hits an opposite field double over the head of Rachel Delotto, and Brianna Barca and Mayola both come in to score. It is 7-5 Cortland. Bottom of the 8th is the last chance for Ithaca to come back. 1 on, 2 outs, and Morgan Kuhn strikes out Juliana Vincent to end the game. Cortland would come back to win 7-5. Now over on East Hill, the Cornell women's softball team had a doubleheader against Dartmouth in an Ivy League matchup. The Big Red looked to improve their 10-11 record and get back above 500 on the year. The squad started the afternoon slow, getting just 5 hits in the first game. That was enough to squeeze out a 4-2 victory after a Jenny Edwards 3-run homer in the 5th inning. The second game, the Bats came alive for both teams after Dartmouth took a 3-0 lead in the first. Cornell would come back to win 10-8 to improve to a 12-11 record in 2012 and 3-1 in Ivy League play. This afternoon, Cornell is taking on Albany in a doubleheader. The softball team again. Now we have the results from that first game shown here as Cornell lost 7-1. Brittany Schweiger had 10 strikeouts for Albany, while Charlize Castro went 4 for 4. Aaron Bells had the solo home run for Cornell. Baseball has been eventful on both sides of the hill in 2012. The Ithaca squad is off to one of their best starts in a long time, boasting an 11-4-1 record. And Tim LaCastro earned Empire 8 Player of the Week honors this past week. Cornell celebrated a no-hitter over the weekend, a weekend that also saw their coach get ejected from a game. We're joined now by analyst Mike Guarnaccia live from the newsroom. Matt, what has been most impressive about the Bombers' start on the diamond this year?
Well, the Bombers have had the best start that they've had in a while. They're 11-4-1, and that one game came from a tie that they had against Cortland, and Cortland is nationally ranked. And they were down 10-4 going into the last inning, and then they came back, scored 6 runs in that inning, and they tied up the game, and then it was called on account of darkness. So you can see that they have a really good fighting spirit. They've got some really great pitching. They've got John Pendergast, who is a freshman. He's 4-0 on the season. They've got Pat Lemo, who's pitching great. He's 5-0 on the season. They're doing the things that need to be done to get into that first position in the Empire 8.
Sophomore Connor Kaufman for Cornell pitched their first no-hitter in 32 years. How could Cornell capitalize off this performance?
Well, that was a fantastic pitching performance by Kaufman. He's a sophomore, and Cornell's 16-5, and they also have 1 tie. And they're on a 3-game win streak. They're first in their division in the Ivy League. They're 3-1 in Ivy League play. They just have to keep building. Canisius is their next game this week, and then they've got the real beginning of their Ivy League season. They play Brown next weekend, and they also play away at Yale next weekend. So this is going to really tell how they're going to do for the rest of the season if they can take these 4 games over the weekend.
What do you think about IC's chances winning the Empire 8 title this year?
Well, what they need to do, they definitely need to keep their pitching going. I mean, the Empire 8, the way it works is there's no playoff system. It's just the number one team wins, and so they're definitely going to have to beat St. John Fisher, who's a very good team. They're playing them in a doubleheader this weekend, and if they can beat them, that's a really good showing for the rest of the season.
All right, thank you again. That was Matt Guarnaccia in the newsroom. The madness has ended as the Kentucky Wildcats beat the Kansas Jayhawks 67-59 last night in the National Basketball Championship. Kentucky coach John Calipari earned his first national title. The Wildcats were the #1 overall seed entering the tournament mid-March. They went 38-2 during the regular season, with the only losses coming against Indiana and Vanderbilt. The loss to Vanderbilt was for the SEC championship. Kansas was a somewhat unexpected team in the final, beating Ohio State to get into the big game in New Orleans. They got within 6 of Kentucky, but weren't able to complete the comeback as the Wildcats pulled away for the win. That's it for sports. Back to you guys.